Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well and struggling on with repairing troubled cars. So this one was passed on to us by Aidan at RAC, and he was talking to us on the phone, and he specifically asked if we could record this one, just because there's been a few people out at it. He was out at it just to get the vehicle running again. Obviously these guys don't really get the time to dive in these sort of faults, you know, they need to be there and gone to the next sort of job. So Aidan from the RAC passed me this one on. I believe it's had the AA out at it. I think they might have done a battery, I'm not too sure, but if Aidan's watching this, just comment, you know, the story if you want, just leave it in the comments. Yeah, so it's an Audi A4 2016. Customer complaint is the battery's dead over a course of, he suspects, 45 days. So like I said, no one's got to the conclusion of this one, so that's why we're here today, and we're going to try and find where this battery or what is actually draining this customer's car. So I've saved all the boring stuff because these take quite a while to go to sleep. You can see that I've latched the tailgate, so that is latched. Not going to bother with the rear doors, we don't need the rear doors or any access to fuses there. The passenger door's latched as well, along with the driver's side door, and the bonnet catch is also latched. So that pretty much allows the vehicle to go to sleep. You know, all the kind of inputs from the doors, etc., that would kind of cause it to stay awake are now gone. So we've left it probably for about 20-25 minutes, which, believe it or not, isn't really that long for one of these cars. These cars you really want to leave for, you know, up to 45 minutes to an hour, but usually we find this is enough. So let's see what the amp clamp's reading. So right now you can see the amp clamp's jumping up between 257 milliamps, and if you give it, it will jump up to 1.2 amps. So that is our drain. It's a massive drain. It's fluctuating between, like I said, 200 milliamps up to 1.2 amps. So that is the customer's complaint confirmed, and we can carry on with locating where this drain actually is. Now on these cars, sometimes the fuses are well hidden. There is a fuse box on the passenger side, as just, you know, per usual. There's, I believe, a couple of fuses in there. I'm not going to look at those ones at the moment. And we've got some fuses in the trunk as well. On the passenger side, I think we have got, well, we have got fuses right there behind that trim, and I believe there's more down there. So in that area, I'm trying not to set off the alarm. So that is where the fuses are on this car, and obviously we've got fuses on either side of this trunk. I think it's going to be the left hand side. So we'll need to go through all those fuses. I think I already know what's up with this one. I don't know if the mic has picked it up, but we'll run through the tests anyway, the way that we normally do it. Start off from the passenger side fuses, run through, do a millivolt drop test on them, make sure everything's all right there. Then we'll come into the trunk and do the trunk side. Now, just for quickness, I have brung up HGS data just for the fuse locations. So, well, not really much of locations, just so we know what fuses are what. You can see we've got the fuse boxes in the trunk, one in the engine compartment, left side of the passenger compartment as well, and the main fuse box at the battery. I forgot that one. That's going to hold all your sort of big amperage fuses, but we're going to focus on the passenger side first. We'll run through all those fuses using the little, what is this? You can't even remember what make this multimeter is, but we're going to use that multimeter anyway because we like that one, and we're going to see if any fuse stands out on the millivolt drop reading. And yeah, let's continue with the diagnosis. Now obviously to save time I'm not going to run through every single fuse on camera, but I'll do the majority of them, pause the camera, continue with the rest. If none of them stand out, we'll go into the trunk and test all those as well. There is quite a lot in the trunk by the looks of it. So if we go into fuse boxes, fuses there, so we'll have our work cut out testing each one of them, and obviously if we were to run through every single fuse on camera, the video would probably be about 20-30 minutes long, so we're not going to do that. We want to try and keep the videos to a minimum, you know, 12-13 minutes or so, because it's easier to upload for us, easier to edit. So yeah, let's continue with the passenger side fuse box. Let's do it quickly. Right, so we've got our multimeter set and we're just going to run through each fuse. No, we've got nothing there. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing there. Yep, so we haven't got much at any of those fuses. So we'll move on next to the ones just in here. Right, I think in this case with the amount of fuses that are there, I'm going to run through these. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows and there's 2 ones at the bottom there. I'm going to run through them off camera just to save time, but if any of them flag up I will come back to you on that. But yeah, let's run through all these off camera, save a bit of time, and yeah, we'll hopefully after if they're alright we'll move on to the trunk fuses. So we've ran through all the fuses that were at the passenger side and on the side of the dash, and all of them passed fine, so we've not got any concern there for a battery drain at the front. We now need to focus our attention on the back. So there's a fuse box at the back and I think it's in this side of the panel. So if you go here, you can see we've got a wee twist, so it was already open, and that is that cover off now, and you can see we have got our fuses in there. Now I think HGS showed a fuse in every single compartment or every single slot, so we haven't got a lot of fuses here, which is good. That will save time. So let's run through each individual fuse and I'll catch this one on camera. So what will I do here? Will I sit yous viewing the multimeter or me checking the fuses? I think we'll do the multimeter, so let's balance you guys there. So we've got our leads set up there, so let's get these tested and we'll see what one stands out, if any. So I'm just running through the ones at the top. Excuse the background noise, this is a busy road. If any's no Partick, it's an absolute nightmare to get parked at. So but nothing on that one. So we're on the last row here. We've got 2 fuses left. We've got a 25 amp and a 30. So we've got nothing on the 25 amp fuse, or have we? Is that switching? So I'm on the 25 amp fuse and that's switching in sync with our amp clamp. So there's something on that circuit that's causing grief. And if we go to the last one, we've also got the same. So we're on the 30 amp here and the 25 amps, a bit strange for both fuses. We need to find out what these, or what circuit these protect, and that will kind of pinpoint us on what we're actually looking for here, what we're looking to disconnect or replace, because these 2 fuses are giving us the highest reading and they're switching in sync with the amp clamp, so that's a good sign. So after digging through on HGS, we have located those 2 fuses on the diagram, and I have had this fault before on a similar car, but you know, you still need to run through all the sort of rigmarole of testing just to be 100% sure. Just like yesterday, I was on a Peugeot, no, it was a Vauxhall Combo. It was a 2018 plate for rear ABS sensor fault. Somebody had replaced the rear ABS sensor, and if you don't know in the comments, they're bad for wiring to the actual sensor itself. But you know, I didn't test anything, I just went straight to there, stripped out the whole wiring, and there was nothing wrong with the wiring, it was the wrong sensor. So it's easy to get caught out, so that's why, you know, you need to kind of do the steps that you would normally do regardless of previous vehicles. So if we look here, I'll show you. We have got SF3 regeneration additive dosing module, and we've got the 25 amp fuse, which is SF11, and that is also your AdBlue module. Two fuses, 30 amp, 25 amp, that's got a high millivolt reading. That's draining a battery because the AdBlue dosing ECU is trying to run something in the pump, and I think I can hear it. I'm pretty positive I can hear it. I might try and put the mic up and see if you guys can hear it as well. In fact, we'll do that just now. Let's do that. So you'll not be able to hear me talk, but if I put the mic underneath the vehicle, you should hear what I'm hearing. So I'm not too sure if you heard that, hopefully you did, but it's kind of like a pump sort of noise, as if something's running in there. So that is draining the battery. So what do we do? Do we advise a customer that, you know, the last one that we've done on this was the actual ECU itself. The ECUs do go faulty, so I don't know what the customer's going to do with this one, I'm not too sure. But we're going to discuss that with the customer anyway. But before I go, I'm going to plug in the top-down Phoenix Smart, do a health scan on the vehicle, see if there was any fault codes previously. Sometimes I do a scan, but on this occasion I never bothered for some reason. But yeah, Aidan from the RAC, this vehicle, the battery drain was caused by the additive or the AdBlue module underneath the vehicle. Now what I'm going to do just to prove that that's definitely 100% the fault, and I'm probably going to cause a stored code here, but I'm just going to remove the 30 amp and the 25 amp power supply, and you can see our drain is no longer present. We've got 16 milliamps. As soon as we put one of them back in, you can see we're up to 214 milliamps. So that is the customer's fault, the AdBlue dosing module. So we've got a top-down MDCI Pro connected up, and we're using the top-down Phoenix Smart. Cracking bit of kit this. We've done a health scan on it. You can see we've got a load of miscellaneous sort of fault codes. If we go into reducing meter or the AdBlue module, you can see there's no fault codes in there, but if I do disconnect the fuses, it does bring on a fault code, so we haven't got a delete happening here. So we'll need to, today is just the diagnosis, initial assessment. We've stayed a wee bit longer than the hour that we usually stay, but we will offer the customer a solution for this, and we might be back to do that if they agree. Sometimes it's just the easier option, if it's done right, I suppose. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do with this one, guys. This was just an update for Aidan at the RAC. He just wanted to see how, you know, we kind of diagnosed this one. But yeah, AdBlue module, Audi A4 2016. So as per usual, guys, if you can, click that like, share and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one. This one will be uploaded on Sunday. Not that that really matters, but it'll be a weekend sort of episode. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.